Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable? They wake up early, stay consistent, chase their dreams, and achieve them while the rest of us are still battling procrastination. It's not because they are more talented, luckier, or born with superhuman powers. It's because they've mastered one thing, the magic of self-discipline. Think about it. Talent without discipline leads to wasted potential. Dreams without discipline remain fantasies. Knowledge without discipline turns into regret. But when you add discipline to any of these, suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Self-discipline is not punishment. It is not suppression. It is not about living a boring, rigid life. It is freedom. Freedom from laziness, from doubt, from excuses. It is the ability to command yourself, to do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. And that is where true power lies. Every great athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every visionary leader has one thing in common: the ability to stay consistent when others give up. They don't wait for motivation. They don't depend on moods. They build habits, routines, and systems that carry them forward. Now here's the truth. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning. And the good news is, you don't need to be born with it. Self-discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, trained, and strengthened. Imagine what your life would look like if you mastered this magic. The projects you've been delaying would finally be completed. The fitness goals you've postponed would turn into reality. The dreams you've kept in your mind for years would finally see daylight. But here's the catch. Discipline isn't built overnight. It's forged in small, consistent actions. Waking up 10 minutes earlier, choosing the book over the phone, finishing the task before scrolling through social media. Small victories repeated daily create unstoppable momentum. Think about an athlete training for years to win a medal. Think about a writer who sits down every day, no matter what, to finish a book. Think about the entrepreneur who works in silence while others waste time and distractions. They all know the same secret. Discipline is destiny. So if you've ever felt stuck, lazy, or trapped in the cycle of procrastination, this is your wake-up call. You don't need motivation. You don't need luck. You need discipline. Because once you master it, there's no dream too big, no goal too far, and no obstacle too strong. This is the magic of self-discipline. Two people start at the same point in life. Same age, same opportunities, same resources, maybe even the same talents. One of them goes on to build a life filled with success, health, fulfillment, and prosperity. The other one, years down the road, is still struggling, making excuses, and wondering why life never gave him a fair chance. Now, what separates these two? It isn't luck, because luck runs out. It isn't talent, because talent without use fades away. It isn't opportunity, because opportunities come to all of us in one form or another. The real difference, the hidden power, is discipline. See, discipline is the great divider. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has desires. Everyone has ambitions. But not everyone has discipline. And that's why some succeed while others fail. Discipline is the quiet force that makes sure the job gets done when you don't feel like doing it. It's the voice inside that says, I'll do it now so I can have what I want later. Without it, you may have big goals, but they remain only wishes. With it, you can turn even the smallest seed of effort into a forest of results. Most people wait for motivation. They say, I'll go to the gym when I feel motivated. I'll start that business when I feel ready. I'll save money when I feel like it. But that day doesn't come. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. One comes and goes. The other stays and builds. If you wait on motivation, you'll always be waiting. But if you build discipline, you'll always be moving forward. That's the secret. Discipline is not punishment. It is not about forcing yourself into misery. It's about giving yourself the freedom to create the life you want. Think about it. The person without discipline lives in chains. They are chained to bad habits, chained to procrastination, chained to regret. The disciplined person, they're free. Free because they took control. Free because they said no to the easy path and yes to the right path. Discipline creates freedom, financial freedom, health freedom, time freedom. Here's the thing. Life will always test you. There will always be excuses, always distractions, always reasons to quit. The question is, who do you listen to? The easy voice that says, take it easy, you deserve a break, do it tomorrow. Or the stronger voice that says, do it now because tomorrow is shaped by today. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They are the ones who choose to listen to the voice of discipline more often than the voice of comfort. Discipline is the magic ingredient. It's the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one, between a paycheck and wealth, between health and sickness, between dreams that die and dreams that live. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get it all right. You just need enough discipline to keep moving, to stay consistent, to keep promises to yourself. That's what separates the winners from the ones still wondering why life didn't give them a chance. The truth is, life gives us all a chance, but it's discipline that allows us to take it. Most people misunderstand self-discipline. They think it's some kind of harsh, rigid control, something that takes all the joy out of life. They imagine a strict drill sergeant yelling at them to wake up early, to work harder, to never have fun. But that's not what discipline really is. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not misery. Discipline is not about saying no to life. It's about saying yes to a better life. Self-discipline at its core is the ability to govern yourself. It's the power to choose what is right over what is easy. It's the quiet decision repeated day after day to stay true to your goals, even when your emotions, your moods, and your environment are pulling you in the opposite direction. That's what it really is. A choice. A daily choice. Think of it this way. Every day you're offered two futures. One is the future of ease, comfort, and excuses. The other is the future of growth, strength, and achievement. Discipline is the key that decides which door you walk through. Without discipline, you drift. You let circumstances control you. You let temptations distract you. You let time slip through your fingers. But with discipline, you take control. You set your own course. You decide the direction of your life. Now, some people say, I'll just rely on motivation. But the truth is, motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. One day you wake up inspired, and the next day you don't. If you rely on feelings, your life will look like a roller coaster, up one day, down the next. But discipline? Discipline is steady. Discipline is like the engine that keeps moving forward, no matter what. It's what carries you through the days when you don't feel like doing anything at all. Self-discipline is really about self-respect. It's about keeping the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say, I'll wake up early tomorrow, and you do it, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you say, I'll save this money instead of wasting it, and you follow through, you build trust with yourself. And let me tell you, when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Because the greatest relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Another way to look at discipline is as a muscle. Nobody is born disciplined. People train it, just like you train your body at the gym. You train discipline with small, repeated acts. You don't start by running a marathon. You start by walking around the block. You don't start by working 12 hours a day. You start by focusing for 30 minutes without distraction. Small acts of discipline build into big ones. Over time, that muscle grows strong enough to handle anything. Discipline is also about clarity. When you know what matters most, it becomes easier to say no to what doesn't. Without discipline, you live in reaction. You say yes to every temptation, every distraction, every short-term pleasure. But with discipline, you pause, you evaluate, and you choose what serves your long-term vision. That's when you stop living by chance and start living by choice. And here's the irony. People think discipline takes away freedom. In truth, it gives you freedom. The disciplined person has the freedom to enjoy health because they controlled their habits. The disciplined person has financial freedom because they controlled their spending. The disciplined person has time freedom because they controlled their priorities. Discipline may feel like a sacrifice in the moment, but it creates freedom in the long run. So, what is self-discipline really? It's not a chain that binds you, it's a key that frees you. It's not misery, it's mastery. It's not about denying yourself the good things. It's about earning them, sustaining them, and multiplying them. Self-discipline is the quiet magic that transforms ordinary days into extraordinary results. It is the foundation of success, the guardian of dreams, and the hidden power that separates those who succeed from those who fail. They wait for that special spark, that perfect day when they finally feel like doing the work. They think one morning they'll wake up with fire in their belly, inspiration in their mind, and energy in their body. And from that day forward, everything will change. But life doesn't work that way. Motivation is wonderful, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes. It rises and falls. You can't build a future on something that's unstable. That's where discipline comes in. See, motivation is like the weather. It changes every day. Some mornings it's sunny, some mornings it's cloudy, and some mornings it rains. If you depend on motivation, your results will be as unpredictable as the weather. You'll go to the gym only when you feel like it. You'll study only when you're inspired. You'll work on your goals only when you're in the mood. And you know what that means. Inconsistent action, inconsistent results. Discipline, on the other hand, is like the sun. It rises every day. Whether you feel like it or not, discipline doesn't care if it's raining or shining, if you're tired or energized, if you're inspired or discouraged. Discipline shows up. Discipline says, I do what I said I would do, regardless of how I feel. That's why it matters more than motivation. Think about the great athletes of the world. Do you think they wake up every morning thrilled to train, excited to sweat, eager to push their bodies to the limit? Of course not. But they do it anyway. Why? Because discipline makes them lace up their shoes, get on the track, and put in the work day after day. That's how champions are made. Not by bursts of motivation, but by consistent discipline. Motivation will get you started, but it won't carry you through the tough days. When you're tired, when you're bored, when no one is watching, that's when motivation disappears. And that's when discipline has to take over. Discipline is the voice that says, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. Discipline is the strength that keeps you moving when your feelings try to hold you back. Now here's a truth that most people don't want to hear. Feelings are liars. Feelings tell you to stay in bed when you should get up. Feelings tell you to eat junk food when you know it harms you. Feelings tell you to give up when you're just one step away from a breakthrough. If you let feelings run your life, you'll always be at their mercy. But if you let discipline guide your life, your feelings will eventually catch up with your actions. And here's the beauty of discipline. It creates its own motivation. When you take action, even when you don't feel like it, you build momentum. And momentum creates motivation. Action fuels emotion. Not the other way around. The more disciplined you are, the more motivated you become. But now it's motivation born from results, not from moods. Discipline is the builder. Motivation is the guest. Discipline is the structure. Motivation is the decoration. One creates stability. The other adds color. If you have motivation without discipline, you'll have excitement without results. But if you have discipline, you'll eventually get both, the consistency and the excitement of achievement. So, why does discipline matter more than motivation? Because motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning. Motivation might start the journey, but discipline finishes it. In the end, it's not the days you felt inspired that will define your life. It's the days you stayed disciplined when you didn't feel like it. That's the difference between those who wish for success and those who achieve it. If you really want to understand the power of self-discipline, you need to look at the benefits. See, discipline isn't just about doing hard things for the sake of being tough. Discipline is an investment, and the return on that investment touches every area of your life. The first benefit of self-discipline is consistency. And consistency is what turns small actions into big results. Think about it. If you eat one unhealthy meal, nothing changes. If you skip one workout, nothing happens. But when you repeat a small habit over and over, day after day, it compounds. A disciplined person doesn't rely on random effort. They build a steady rhythm. They read every day. They save a little money every week. They work on their craft every single morning. And over time, that consistency builds momentum. And momentum creates results that look almost magical to everyone else. The second benefit is self-confidence. When you practice discipline, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Every time you follow through on your word, you strengthen your own belief in yourself. And let me tell you, there is nothing more powerful than a person who trusts themselves. Confidence doesn't come from compliments. It doesn't come from someone else telling you how good you are. Real confidence comes from knowing you will do what you said you'd do. That's the gift of discipline. It builds unshakable confidence from the inside out. Third, discipline gives you freedom. I know it sounds like a paradox, but it's true. Most people think discipline is restriction. They think it's a prison. But in reality, the undisciplined life is the one in chains. Without discipline, you're chained to your impulses. You're chained to laziness. You're chained to regret. The disciplined person, however, enjoys freedom. Freedom from bad habits. Freedom from financial stress. Freedom from poor health. Because they did the work when it mattered, they now get to enjoy the rewards. Think about money. If you spend every dollar you earn, you'll always be trapped in stress and scarcity. But if you practice financial discipline, you build savings, investments, and security. That's freedom. Think about health. If you always give in to cravings and excuses, you end up with pain, illness, and limitation. But if you practice health discipline, you gain energy, strength, and longevity. That's freedom. See, discipline in the short term creates freedom in the long term. Another benefit of discipline is clarity. When you're disciplined, you stop chasing every distraction. You know what matters and you align your actions with your priorities. The undisciplined life is scattered. Too many goals, too many temptations, too much wasted energy. But the disciplined life is focused. And focus is power. When you channel your effort into what matters most, you achieve more in 1 year than most achieve in 10. And let's not forget resilience. Discipline trains you to push through resistance. Every time you act despite laziness or fear, you build strength. And that strength doesn't just help you with your goals. It helps you with life. When setbacks come, and they will, you're ready. You don't fold under pressure. You don't quit at the first sign of difficulty. You've trained your willpower through discipline, and that makes you resilient. Now look at the people we admire most. The athletes who achieve greatness, the entrepreneurs who build empires, the artists who create masterpieces. They all live by discipline. Not because it's easy for them, but because they chose to master it. Behind every gold medal, every best-selling book, every thriving business, there are thousands of disciplined days no one else ever saw. The spotlight only shows the result. Discipline created the result. So here's the truth. Self-discipline is not just about control. It's about creating the life you want. It gives you consistency. It builds confidence. It creates freedom. It sharpens focus. And it makes you resilient. These are not small benefits. These are the very things that separate an average life from an extraordinary one. And once you taste these benefits, you'll realize discipline was never a burden. It was the greatest gift you ever gave yourself. Now the big question is this. If discipline is so powerful, how do you build it? Because the truth is, nobody is born disciplined. No baby comes into this world with the ability to wake up at 5 a.m., run 5 miles, save money, and stick to a plan. Discipline is learned. It's trained. It's developed step by step like a muscle. And if it can be learned, then you can learn it too. The first step is to start small. Most people fail at discipline because they start too big. They decide they're going to change everything overnight. Wake up 2 hours earlier. Hit the gym 6 days a week. Read a book a week. Quit all bad habits and run a marathon in 6 months. By the second week, they're exhausted, frustrated, and back to their old ways. Why? Because discipline grows like a seed, not like a wildfire. You don't build it with massive, unsustainable effort. You build it with small, consistent actions. Start with one commitment. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Drink more water. Read for 15 minutes. Small wins create momentum, and momentum builds discipline. The second step is to create routines and systems. Discipline doesn't live in the moment of decision. It lives in the structure you build around yourself. If you rely on willpower alone, you'll lose. Willpower is limited. But if you design your environment and routines in a way that supports your goals, you make discipline automatic. For example, lay out your gym clothes the night before so you remove excuses in the morning. Schedule your reading time in your calendar instead of waiting for free time. Prepare healthy meals in advance so you don't have to fight temptation 3 times a day. Routines and systems are discipline's best friends. The third step is to remove temptations and distractions. Let's be honest. Self-discipline is much harder when the wrong choice is right in front of you. If the cookies are on the counter, you'll eat them. If the phone is buzzing with notifications, you'll check it. If the TV remote is in reach, you'll turn it on. Discipline isn't just about forcing yourself to say no. It's about designing your life so that you don't have to fight as many battles. Get the junk food out of the house. Turn off notifications. Create a workspace that's free of distractions. Make the right choice the easy choice and the wrong choice the hard one. The fourth step is to track your progress and celebrate small wins. Discipline grows when you can see it working. Keep a journal, use a calendar, or track your habits in an app. When you see those check marks, those streaks, those little records of progress, you'll feel encouraged to keep going. And don't forget to celebrate. Every day you keep your promise to yourself. Reward yourself. Not with laziness or indulgence, but with gratitude and recognition. Say to yourself, I did it. I kept my word. That builds pride. And pride builds more discipline. The fifth step is to practice self-forgiveness. Nobody is perfect. Even the most disciplined people slip up. They miss workouts, they waste time, they procrastinate. The difference is they don't let one failure turn into a pattern. They forgive themselves quickly and get back on track. The undisciplined person says, I missed one day, I've failed, so why bother? The disciplined person says, I missed one day, but tomorrow I begin again. That mindset is what keeps discipline alive. Finally, the step that holds it all together is patience. Discipline is not built in a week or a month. It's built over time, and the rewards are worth it. Every small action repeated over and over creates a disciplined life. And a disciplined life is a free life, a confident life, a life that turns dreams into reality. So, how do you build self-discipline? Start small. Build routines. Remove distractions. Track your progress. Forgive yourself when you slip. And above all, stay patient. Do this. And discipline won't just be something you practice. It will become part of who you are. And when that happens, there's no goal too far, no dream too big, and no obstacle too strong. Let's be honest. Discipline sounds wonderful when you talk about it. But when it comes to living it out, the road isn't always smooth. Discipline has challenges, and unless you recognize them, they can stop you in your tracks. But the good news is this. Every challenge of discipline can be overcome. And when you overcome them, you become stronger than ever. The first challenge is procrastination. That little voice that says, not now, I'll do it later. You know that voice? It shows up at the gym, it shows up at the desk, it shows up every time you face something important. Procrastination is discipline's biggest enemy. And the danger is that it feels harmless. One delay doesn't look like much. I'll do it tomorrow, you say. But soon tomorrow turns into next week, next month, and eventually never. The way to beat procrastination is simple. Take the first step immediately. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start small, start clumsy, but start now. Action is the cure for procrastination. The second challenge is laziness. Let's face it, comfort is seductive. The bed feels warm, the couch feels safe, the phone feels entertaining, and laziness whispers, you deserve it. Take it easy. Rest a little longer. But laziness, unchecked, steals your future. It takes your dreams one nap at a time, one distraction at a time, until nothing's left. How do you beat laziness? With purpose. When your why is strong enough, your body finds the energy. When you have a reason bigger than comfort, laziness loses its grip. Discipline grows when your purpose is clear. The third challenge is doubt. Discipline requires effort. And sometimes you start to wonder, is it worth it? Am I really getting anywhere? Will this even work? That's doubt talking. Doubt can paralyze you if you let it. The truth is, results don't always show immediately. Seeds don't turn into trees overnight. Progress often hides before it reveals itself. The answer to doubt is faith. Faith in the process. Faith in consistency. Faith that small daily actions create big future rewards. Trust the process, even when the results aren't visible yet. The fourth challenge is distraction. We live in a world full of noise, phones buzzing, social media calling, endless entertainment at our fingertips. And distractions are dangerous because they don't just waste your time, they waste your focus. A distracted mind cannot build discipline. That's why discipline requires boundaries. Turn off notifications. Create focused work blocks. Protect your attention like it's treasure. Because it is. When you guard your focus, you strengthen your discipline. Another challenge is impatience. We live in a world of instant gratification, instant food, instant entertainment, instant answers. But discipline is about long-term rewards, not short-term pleasures. And impatience says, I want it now. If I don't see results quickly, I'll quit. This is where most people give up. They plant the seed, water it for a few days, then walk away because they don't see a tree. But the wise person knows growth takes time. Discipline is about delayed gratification, doing the work now so you can enjoy the fruit later. Beat impatience by remembering that every great thing in life takes time. And finally, the toughest challenge of all, your own emotions. Some days you won't feel like it. Some days you'll be tired, stressed, discouraged. Discipline is hardest when your emotions are strongest. But here's the key. Discipline is not about how you feel. Discipline is about what you decide. The challenge is learning to act in spite of your feelings. That's where real power comes from. The ability to choose action over emotion. So yes, discipline has challenges. Procrastination, laziness, doubt, distraction, impatience, emotions. They're all real. But here's the truth. Every challenge you face in building discipline is also an opportunity. Each one is a weight that makes your discipline muscle stronger when you push against it. And when you learn to overcome these challenges, you don't just build discipline, you build character. You build strength. You build a life that cannot be shaken by excuses or setbacks. Discipline may feel like a sacrifice in the moment, but the rewards it gives you are beyond measure. And here's the truth. The rewards of discipline are always greater than the cost. You see, the cost of discipline is measured in effort, in time, in patience. But the reward is measured in freedom, in confidence, in results, in the life you've always wanted. That's a trade you can't afford not to make. The first reward of discipline is accomplishment. There is no greater satisfaction than setting a goal and actually reaching it. Most people never experience this because they quit halfway. They let procrastination or doubt steal their progress. But the disciplined person gets to taste the sweetness of completion. Whether it's finishing a project, running a marathon, saving a certain amount of money, or writing a book. The moment you cross that finish line, you realize it wasn't talent or luck that got you there. It was discipline. And that accomplishment fills you with a pride no one can take away. The second reward of discipline is freedom. At first, people think discipline is a prison. I don't want to restrict myself, they say. But here's the paradox. Discipline is the doorway to true freedom. Financial discipline gives you the freedom to live without debt and stress. Health discipline gives you the freedom to enjoy energy and vitality. Time discipline gives you the freedom to control your day instead of letting your day control you. The undisciplined life looks free. But it's not. It's a life chained to impulses, bad habits, and regret. The disciplined life looks tough, but in reality it's the freest life you can live. The third reward of discipline is respect. Self-respect first, and then the respect of others. When you do what you said you would do, you begin to trust yourself, and that trust turns into confidence. Suddenly, you no longer doubt your ability to follow through. And when others see your consistency, when they see you showing up day after day, they respect you too. People may admire talent, but they respect discipline, because talent is given, but discipline is earned. The fourth reward is growth. Every act of discipline stretches you beyond your comfort zone. Every time you resist laziness, procrastination, and doubt, you grow stronger. Your mind becomes sharper, your willpower becomes tougher, your character becomes deeper. Discipline trains your mind like a muscle. Each repetition makes you more resilient, more focused, more capable. And soon, you find that the things that once felt difficult now feel natural. What used to require effort becomes part of who you are. That is growth. And here's a reward most people don't expect. Peace of mind. Think about it. How much stress, how much regret, how much anxiety comes from knowing you should have done something, but you didn't? That nagging feeling, that guilt, that inner conflict, it all comes from a lack of